What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down some important data that came out for the markets. Let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice, and don't forget to smash the like button. Anyways, now I just want to talk about the markets. So the market's making a nice move so far. SPY is very flat. We dipped a little bit only to rebound. And the question is, are we going to hold support, and how on earth is the market looking? I'll talk about some big levels in just a minute. I just want to mention that the market got a more positive reaction after we got this data. The Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report was at 67.8 above expectations. Everything was above expectations except the current conditions report. So right here, this was at 60.9. So current conditions are not expected to be that great. But for the future, inflation is anticipated to come back down. This is what this data was basically telling us. And also the consumer expectations for the future are not bad as well. So that's what we're seeing thus far. That's why the market's holding up. I mentioned to everyone that there were possibilities on SPY. If we lost 549.5, we would be looking for the possible inverse head and shoulder setup on SPY to play out. That was a possibility. And if we broke resistance, we would turn bullish and start pushing for 556. If anything, we're in the middle, but we held support very nicely. And here's why. So SPY dipped. It actually dipped in the morning towards our 50 EMA at 550. We did not lose 549.5. We held support. Okay, we held support very nicely. Had we lost 549.5, I would turn a little bit more concerned for this dip. Instead, we held support and we're looking bullish. So we got a nice little bounce on SPY for the past 1.5 hours. So now we're going to be in a very, very interesting place right here. We're looking at resistance around this 554 area. We'll have to see if we can break this or not. I mean, if we break this, it's going to be a tough resistance, by the way. If we manage to break that, we could be pushing for 556. If not, we're just going to continue to shuffle. We might see a lot of chop from this point. It is possible we go a little higher, but we'll see what kind of reaction we get. I think the 554 area is kind of tough, so we might be just range bound for now. And we'll see if we break it. I mean, I'm not going to be one to just deny the possibility of that. I'm saying this because there's very, very important reactions coming, not to mention in resistance levels. I'm going to start off by talking about some futures, and I'll talk about Nvda in just a minute. ES is looking pretty good. Make sure you watch 55.63. If we lose that, we're looking for 55.50. If we hold this, we'll be looking for a push for 55.75. A little dip only to get bought back up. So we're getting bought back up very nicely for a V-shaped recovery. But watch this resistance as we get to 55.80 and then eventually 5600. We'll just have to see how it goes. Let me just zoom out and show you something. This does have upside potential because we didn't make the full measured move. So this looks like a possible inverse head and shoulders. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, it doesn't have to be perfect. But this high right here, it hasn't been reached, the 5600 area. That opens more upside potential for this. So there is potential in ES. For SPX, we look bullish. We're looking for a nice push right here. We're basically going to be looking for, just to double check this, 55.60. And if we lose support at 55.30, we'll be dipping to 5500. So we look more bullish. You could argue there's an inverse head and shoulders, but that hasn't really made the full measured move yet. We could go a little higher. We could get closer to about 55.60 first before anything else. So we'll see how that goes. Still has upside potential. Now, Tesla's looking really nice. I really like this setup on Tesla, making higher highs and higher lows and breaking out. It's kind of like stair-stepping its way up higher and higher. And these imbalances are going to start filling around 222, 230. So I think Tesla's going to likely try to bounce higher. 220 is going to be a tough resistance. If Tesla breaks this, look for 222, then 225. And if that breaks, 230 is coming. And if we fail to hold this 218 support, look for, 217.5 support, look for basically 215, then 212. If anything, the chart's favoring that it wants to push higher later on. So we are still bullish on Tesla. I really, really enjoy this setup. It looks great. However, I just want to note that 220 is going to be a tough resistance, and so far we're doing a good job at trying to approach it. So very nice job by Tesla. It could push higher later on. NQ hasn't made the full measured move yet. Our resistance would be around 19,700. We came short of that. We are trying to push higher up towards that. If we lose 19,500, look for a dip. And if we hold above 19,600, we could push higher. So far, we're doing a good job. There is more upside potential. For the QQQ, we have 475 as resistance. If we break this, we're looking for a nice push for 480. And if we don't break 475, make sure you look at support around 472, then eventually 470. So we'll see how it goes. We could try to go a little higher, so give this some time. And then we'll see what kind of reaction we get, at least from here. For Aapl has a nice looking kind of like accumulation structures could develop into an inverse head and shoulders. We're looking at this resistance around this 225 area, and our main support is going to be around this, basically around this 223 area. If that breaks, we'd be looking for 221. Overall, Aapl is holding up very well, dipped a bit. Now it's just trying to consolidate, but just know 225 is tough resistance. So we'll see at what kind of reaction we get right up there. We could push a little higher than we'll see. So give it some time. For super micro, we're trying to hold up as well. Look at our supports. We currently have support around 602, and then our resistance is going to be all the way up here towards, I'll just have to double check this, the 640 area. I called out 640 in the morning. We did touch that, but now it's shuffling here. So it might shuffle for a bit. So give it some time. It is a Friday. That wouldn't necessarily be a surprise. The Russell went all the way up towards 213.8, only to come back down. To turn bullish, you want to break past 214. We could fill the gap to 216. If you're bearish, you want to see it lose 209. Right now, we're in the middle, so I think it might just shuffle between 212 and 210. That's all I'm seeing for now. There's not really much that's going on with it. Coinbase is completely range bound, but look at 202's resistance. If we break that, we could be looking for a push for 205. And if we fail to break that, we're going back down to 197. Overall, look at 202. We're trying to fight it right now. We could try to push higher if we break. We're doing a good job so far. Amazon looks bullish. Looks like it wants to get up to 180. If we end up losing 175, however, we could turn back down to 172. But this chart is looking like it wants to get up to 180 as of right now. As long as we're above 175, we favor that, and 177 as well. So look at those two supports. If we're above 177, we favor 180. If we lose 177, look for 175. But this chart is favoring that it eventually wants to go up to 180 as of right now. And then just for a few more, Meta had resistance around this 538 to 540 area. Now we're dipping a little bit. We're showing some weakness. So look at support. Look at resistance at 530. If we don't reclaim that, look at 525. We'll see how well Meta does. There is a risk of it dipping a little bit lower. It's not looking that great. Same thing with Microsoft. We pushed up to about 420 only to dip a little bit. Look at key support right here around this 418 area. If that breaks, we're going to be dipping to 414. We also have resistance at 420, so this might dip a little bit lower. We'll see if 418 holds. We could dip it below that to about 414, so we'll see how things develop. For Google, we basically have 166 as a key area. If we hold above that, we could continue to push for 168 to fill this gap. If we don't, we'll be looking for a dip towards 163.75. So we do favor upside, but we'll see if we break resistance. So far, so good. Anyways, as far as Tesla goes, we're doing a great job for this uptrend, and we'll see what ends up developing from here. So give this the time it needs. We could be forming a nice cup, and then we have to be very, very patient nonetheless. But just know Tesla is doing a good job, in my opinion, at holding up. This is one of my favorite setups right now. I think this has more potential for next week. But just know 220 is going to be a tough resistance, so I just wanted to call that out one more time. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my video. Thank you all so much for listening. We got a nice move in the markets. There might be some chop coming, but just know that the market is still favoring upside a little bit more as long as we hold above our supports, and we'll see how things go. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys in just a couple of hours for another update, and make sure you watch the levels I called out very, very carefully. Thank you so much, and peace out.